Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. As you can hear, I'm not very well, so I've got flu-like symptoms. So I didn't even know if I could stream, but I wanted to do a movie review of Theatre Camp because I was given a code for a free ticket to go to a View Cinema movie, courtesy of YouTube High Five, which is their YouTube treats program that I only give selected YouTubers. This is the second time I've been granted this lovely treat, and this is for my Quirky Books TV channel, not actually this channel, but I do no sex movie reviews on this channel. So I want to get right into what is Theatre Camp all about, and if you're going to watch it, please do not listen to this live stream until after you've watched the movie if you don't like spoilers. So Theatre Camp is a more of an independent type of feeling film. And it's based around the fact that there's these kids that go to this camp, and it's a theatre camp, a bit like a summer camp, but for theatre. So there's some people that are dancing, some people that are singing, some people that are doing improvising, some people, are doing like weird stuff. So there's different people doing different stuff, and they got like a drama teacher, they got someone who's like a singer who teaches singing, they got someone who is writing the play, if you like, or the musical, and it's very interesting. I actually really liked the movie. There is no sex in it, and I'm a sex repulsed asexual, so I found that amazing. And I did actually really like it. It was a different type of movie. It's very LGBTQ friendly because there are gays in the show. There's a couple of guys that dress in female clothing in the movie. There's gay guys as someone's dad in the movie. So it's very LGBT plus friendly. And I think that's really good. And it's a bit interesting that it's theatre camp, but it's quite camp in the sense that a lot of them are gay or queer. Flight to Happiness. Oh, lots of love to you. Nice to see you. I remember your name now. Thank you. As you can hear, I'm like nasally tonight. I really appreciate you being here. So anyway, so they have the opening sequence is quite dramatic. So there's the founder and this other lady, that like older ladies, and basically what happens is one of them drops on the floor and goes into a coma. So that's like the beginning of the movie, and it's like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? And so it's quite shocking, and they've done it in a very documentary style. So it is, I looked to see if it's based on a true story because it's written like it's a true story, but as far as I can tell, it's not. It's just the way they've dramatized it. And so what happens is they said, "Oh, we were filming this, and then the founder went into a coma, so he decided to carry on filming." And so it's very interesting. So at the beginning, you don't know, like, is this a true story documentary, or is this not a true story? It's very interesting. And so what happens is when this woman goes into a coma, the founder of this theatre camp, her son takes her place. But her son is like a very cool, trendy entrepreneur guy who's online all the time and is very the opposite to the artistic kids in the theatre camp. So in the theatre camp, they're very, like I said, artistic. They're into singing, into creative ideas, into bringing themselves out of their shell, if you like, and allowing themselves to flourish in the creative environment, if that makes sense to you. And you've got this guy who's like got a cap on, he's like quite street, quite, like latest music. And the summer camp people, the theatre camp, they're more traditional music, like musical theatre. And he's coming from a background more like Dr. Dre type stuff. So they have the judges going to judge the people who are coming to audition for the theatre camp for different parts in a play they're going to be doing. And they're going through all these students of the theatre camp trying to pick parts out for them. But when they're judging them, the founder's son doesn't really like any of them apart from the one guy who's more like modern. I say guy, he's a young boy, more modern and like a Dr. Dre type of song. Do you know what I'm saying? More up to date beats. But the kids in the beginning, they do not relate to the founder's son, and they don't listen to him because he doesn't speak their language. And it's only throughout the movie that he understands what's truly important to the campers. And that is the community they build, the team they build, the trust they build. And so the place is going to rack and ruin. Basically, it's not financially viable at this point to keep it open. And it's going to be foreclosed. There's going to be a foreclosure on it because they owe too much money. They're not making enough money to continue having it open. And so they're putting on a play for the founder, which is called the founder's name still, Joan Still. I believe that's the name, Joan Still. Yeah, because I'm not very good with names sometimes. I forget people's names. So yeah, but it's very interesting. So yeah, Joan, there we are. I've just double checked it. Joan Still. So the play is called Joan Still. And I guess it means she's still around. I think that's what they mean. So basically what they're doing in the film is because she's gone into a coma, they're creating play around her and her life and how she got to be the founder of this theatre camp, in the hope that they can actually save the theatre camp in the end. So it doesn't all come together towards the end, but you understand that they're writing a play based on the founder called Joan, her story. And her son doesn't really understand why the theatre is that important to his mother. And you can tell he doesn't really know his mother that well. He doesn't understand the students. But when he finally realizes that it's a sense of community and talented individuals and it means the world to them, he's actually gone and signed a contract to try to get money for the place to the enemy, to a camp that's a rival camp. Because so there's no sex in it, but there's applied sex. I should have said, although you don't see any sex whatsoever, the person who got him to sign the contract said it was a hot night and they stayed in the camp together in this room by the look of it, and she got him to sign the contract. So she was really interested in getting him to sign the contract more because she was interested in him. So you don't see any nudity, you don't even see them kiss, but you just hear them talk about that afterwards, which is a bit weird. You didn't even see any kissing between them, but no. So yeah, it's very interesting. But anyway, you learn that in the end, the contract you sign is only if the foreclosure goes ahead. If you get someone to buy or put money into the place before the foreclosure happens, then he can still save the place. And so there's a lot of stuff that's like going on that's kind of all over the place a lot. There's a person who teaches singing, and then she's a co-director with the director of the production of the play. But they're like best friends, but she keeps going off doing her own thing, and you find out she's got a job, and they've been friends for like she had a crush on him, but he came out, so he's basically gay, as far as I can tell, because he came out, which I think means he's gay. And so, because he could come out as anything, couldn't he? But I think that's what she means. And so therefore she's decided that she does need to expand her wings and she needs to go and do something else. And so she ends up going away quite a lot in secret, and he finds out, she finally admits that she's got another job lined up. And he's like, but you never consulted me. And she's like, well, I didn't have to. Like, she gave up Juilliard for him years ago, by the sound of it. But this is like on a cruise ship, I think, something like that. So anyway, the situation is she wants to stop dreaming and go and actually get a job elsewhere, whereas he loves teaching the students there. So anyway, they break up friends for a bit, that he's really narky with her and upset and everything, but she's like, she wants to live the dream. She doesn't want just think about the dream and talk about it. She wants to live it. So I think that's very important, because the thing is, you can be best friends with someone for years, and then if you haven't got their best interest at heart, if you expect them to just stay with you and do everything all the time with you and have no room for growth themselves, then obviously that can become an unhealthy relationship. You don't see them having so much of an unhealthy relationship, but that particular point in the movie is when she's trying to say, look, I need to do my own thing. I don't have to consult with you all the time, because I can achieve my dreams still on my own. And he doesn't support her in the big for quite a lot of the time, the beginning, when he finds this out, but eventually, he comes around to the idea at the very, very end. But there's actually a guy, I believe it's Indian, in there, and he has an amazing voice. His voice is absolutely incredible. He's a kid, as far as I can tell, and he has an incredible, amazing voice. In the View Cinema where I saw the movie, the guy who scanned my ticket was actually Indian, as far as I know, and he was really beautiful. I'm like, oh, it's worth coming to the cinema just for the Indian guy who's a View Cinema worker who scanned my ticket. Hello to him if he's ever happened to be watching. But yeah, but in the actual movie, there's an Indian kid, and he's got an incredible voice, like belts it out. He could do like opera. He's amazing. So they had some really talented kids in the movie. I found that was really, really good. I found it was good they still kept the pace going, even though the film storyline's quite uncomplicated, if you know what I mean. Like, the founder went into a coma, the son took it over. The son's all like kind of new age, new age, or into new things, into hip hop type stuff, and he's just got a completely different ideology of the way the camp should be. And you got the kids at the camp that love the traditional stuff, and you got the contrast between those going on. And you've got him like walking around with a stick vlogging, and he's a famous vlogger. So I like the way they contrast the traditional creative theatre stuff with the modern day society vlogging and lifestyle of an entrepreneur. I like the way they mix those two. But there was some really talented individuals. I love the play at the end. It was amazing, because I told you there was some people in there that was guys, for example, dressed as females, or I'm not sure if they were actually. I don't think they were trans. I think they were cross dressers, but I'm not sure. One of them might be trans or agender. They didn't exactly say as such, so that was hard to work out. But it's really funny. In the end, there's this boy when they have the final production, which is amazing. It's the best part of the film. And they have the people watching, like the parents and everything. There's this guy couple. They must be in their 50s or something. And their son goes, I have an announcement to make. I'm coming out as a heterosexual man. And he's got two dads, gay dads, basically. And they're hugging each other going, "Oh, I always knew it. I always knew it." And so I love the way they've changed that around, instead of, gays coming out and it being such like, "Oh, I always suspected that's the case." It's like, because of the way the camp is, it's a lot more queer, it's got a lot more gay people, it got a lot more people that aren't traditional genders. Then it's like, more of an abnormality to be heterosexual in that camp. And so I love that. I love the way they twisted that. I love the way they made people who are queer and gay and cross-dressing. I love the way they made them normal, and they made like people who are not that way like kind of more of an outsider in a queer camp, if you know what I mean. It's quite interesting. And it was amazing, because this guy who is running up and down, I presumed he was meant to be a guy in the actual movie. In the end, because the lead actor goes, she gets a job elsewhere, and they think the camp's gonna end, because basically the founder's son has signed a contract with a rival company that wants to demolish it. So the lead actress, she leaves, and because she has another job to go to that she took on, and finally the guy who's been run up and down, he's like a runner and doing everything, he gets to be center stage dressed as the woman. He looks very good as a woman, I have to say. I'm not into women, but as women goes, he looks amazing. I think he's a he, but a cross dresser. I think he's like a drag artist, or a cross dresser. But I can't be too sure on that because I don't want to offend anyone in case he is non-binary or androgynous or trans. I think probably more likely one of the other characters is androgynous. But this particular guy is like the runner. I think he's a cross-dresser or a drag artist. But anyway, he's incredible as a female. He's got an amazing voice. He looks really feminine and female. I think he looks better as a female probably than his guy persona. And he looks good as a she. So it's really nice. I'm glad that it's really inclusive. And they were explaining in the movie the difference between straight plays and gay plays. And they're like, what's a gay play then if that's a straight play? And they're like, oh, a gay play would be a musical, basically. So anyway, it's really interesting. And it's so funny because in the very end, what's happened is the son, James' son, got a live feed into the hospital room. So it was meant to try and help Joan, the founder, wake up from her coma that she's been in since the beginning of the movie. And the first few minutes of it. And so he does this like live streaming to it. And then all of a sudden, this woman wakes up, but it's not Joan. It's not his mother. It's someone else. And so that's quite funny. It's not funny they're in a coma. But anyway, you find that his mum's actually just next to this woman in the end. And there's only a curtain that separates them. And his mother's come alive as well. Got out of her coma, I should say, as well, by the end of the movie. So all is well that ends well. It's a really good movie. I just like the fact it's very different. I like the fact it's quite independent. I like the fact of the play within a play type of thing. It's done very documentary style. I just really liked it. I thought it was a different type of film. Anyway, I've got to go now. Give it a watch. Thumbs up.